Hello everyone, I'm Rachel with Ruby Lane and we are here at the Grovian for our next program of the day. I am so excited about this one. It is called Wooden Wonders at the Grovian. If there is a doll in this video that doesn't take your breath away, I don't know what, because these dolls are some of the most amazing, incredible dolls I've ever seen, and I just hope that you enjoy this and learn a lot. So the Grovian has wood, and Michael's here to teach us all about it. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ruby Lane.
Hello.
One of the first things I want to show the audience and show Rachel is I've got a piece of wood here, and I want you to tell me what it is. This is in our case with our wooden dolls and our early things. So what do you think this is?
Well,
do you think it's some molding for a picture frame? What would you say that is?
It looks like maybe a toy actually. It looks like a
that is excellent. It's actually
like
a wooden sheep or a lamb. So they would take, if you see that, they would take and they would cut that off and just keep cutting and cutting like a pie, and you'd have a whole little flock of sheep. And these are kind of some of the wonderful things that we like to have, because it really, you forget that these things, this was probably part of a Noah's Ark or a farm set. You forget that they're wooden, and they were once part of a tree and part of a very ancient tree. Some of the dolls we're going to share with you today are ancient dolls in themselves, but their heart is even probably 1,000 years old. Some of these items. The building that we're in today, which is a 1902 building, but it was built with the great redwoods. Those trees were around before Jesus. So wood is such a part of our lives that we don't even really actually think about it. As far as dolls go, it's one of the substances that dolls are made of that are the oldest, really. It goes back to the Egyptians and to the Romans. There have been many, many tombs that have been found with children buried with their dolls. So it is, I believe, one of the oldest forms of doll making material. We've shown you this girl before, but somebody's phone is going off somewhere.
Look at this incredible.
This is live.
This is
live.
Real. So things happen. Yes.
Now, if they were in the room here, I would ask them, would you mind putting that on speaker so we can all hear?
So we can share with the class?
So we've seen her before in a tour, but you know, you can't, it's always worth seeing her again. And this is a William and Mary doll from about 1680s. Now, she has been redressed in the sense of, in about 1740, they redressed her.
They redressed her in 1740.
Yes.
Look at this.
So she has her original shoes, but under her costume is parts of her William and Mary clothes that have survived. And it's kind of a wonderful thing. Do you know, she's got little dings and whatnot, but it's a miracle that she's even here. I mean, it really is.
Let's look
So
at her.
have a whole look at her.
So incredible.
And she's loaded with personality.
Oh, and the face and the...
But the shoes, these are the original, I believe, the original shoes from the William and Mary period, which they're spectacular.
Look at that.
Just spectacular. But underneath, I don't want to pull this quilted petticoat up, but underneath it is a part of her original skirt with the gilded lace. And this stomacher here, I believe, is also original. When we received this doll, it had a brand new wig on it. When I say brand new, it was probably from the 50s, which I immediately took it off. And underneath the wig was her original wig.
Oh, thank goodness.
So that was really a wonderful thing to have happen.
That's so lucky.
Sparse, but yet still there.
Oh, yeah.
And then she has her, this is a William and Mary era cap. So that's a wonderful thing. So in our woods, she's our oldest. that we have. And then the next is a personal favorite of mine. And we have written an article, I think, about this. And I think the name of the article is Long Ago and Far Away. And this is a wonderful early Georgian wooden, early Georgian wooden. And she was from the same family that Lord and Lady Clapham, the famous Lord and Lady Clapham that are in the V&A Museum. This doll was in the same drawer with them for 2 centuries. So it's a really special piece. And this is, she's dressed to depict part of the, a member of the Stuart family.
She's just spectacular.
So, yeah, she is spectacular. And just a beautiful forehead. She's a doll that I never get tired of seeing, and I want to preserve her the way she is. I think a lot of people would be very tempted to make her a fancy lady, but this...
Oh, I love this outfit.
And, you know, I know that there are critics out there that are going to write and say that we've done this all wrong, that the pockets should be underneath the garment. We know that. We put them outside of the garment so that way you can see them. So basically these pockets would be under the skirt, and you would go in through the sides to get into the pockets.
Okay.
We do know that.
Okay.
But we want to show it to you, because otherwise, if we didn't attach it and we just laid it in front, there is the possibility that at some point it could be lost. So as long as it's attached to the doll, then it's with it. But I also too want to show you these hands. She
has longer arms than the one that you showed before.
Yes.
Did the arms start getting longer as they progressed?
I think it just had to do with the maker.
Okay.
You know, there was a thought that short, dainty arms were a wonderful thing and very fashionable, but I think it just had to do with the maker. The bigger dolls of this type, they actually use wooden spoons to make the hands.
Oh, that makes sense.
But the smaller ones...
It does kind of look like
it does, doesn't it? Yeah. And then you just use a spoon and then you cut into it. But these were not spoons at this size. But they're wonderful. You know, we're really, really fortunate that she's got all her fingers, because many times they have all their fingers damaged.
Yeah.
And then the collector has to decide to leave it or not leave it. I'm from both schools. One time we had a Georgian doll that had all her fingers broken except for one in the middle, and it was a little bit risque, the pose of that. So we did have to do something about that. But
she's fantastic.
She is fantastic.
If you guys are tuning in, we're learning about wonderful early wooden dolls here at the Grovian with Michael Canadas.
So we're going to go, we're kind of keeping this in a chronological time. And then the next era, and our little Murray here is working with us. So I have to watch it, not step on Murray. But this is
Look at this. I saw you pull this across the room and my jaw dropped.
Well, I'm glad, because, you know, one thing about doing this and getting the girls out in the fresh air, people see them in a different way. So we've gone to 1740 before, and now we're moving about 1799, 1800. The French Revolution, there's a radical change in clothing. In a lot of ways, the world's in turmoil. They've gotten rid of all the fancy hairdos. And there's a period where women wore short hair. And so here we are. And, of course, the great beauty of the day, the new style maker would not be Josephine, by the way, would be Napoleon Bonaparte's sister, Pauline. So she would be the big style maker. And here we have a doll, a Germanic, from what we would now call Germany, but at the time it was disputed. But this would be a German doll, now we call it. And collectors call these bust-line dolls, because I'm going to show you.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So they built in a chemise, and the bust is, you know, very pronounced. And that was the style. This is a very unusual costume because they didn't have a lot of silks at the time. Most things were muslins and lightweight white. So this was very, very intricate of a costume at the time. And this is a very interesting feature here. See this red choker? This was a way for people to communicate that I am of noble blood. My family survived the Reign of Terror, and I didn't get my head guillotined.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting to know.
It's just a little subtle thing. You can see it in art and miniature portraits, but these dolls have amazing faces. This style of a doll didn't last long, so these are very rare to find.
Yes, this face is just incredible. She has a large nose and a very just pronounced.
Oh, very pronounced. But
features.
if you look at, and if you think about it too, she looks slightly like Napoleon Bonaparte, but you know, it's meant to be his favorite sister Pauline was a muse for many artisans at the time.
Wonderful doll.
So then we're going to move to, I think we should move to well, no, we won't move to Wilhemina yet. Let me put her back because, and I'm not going to step on Murray because he's our buddy. So if you hear snoring, it's not my stomach.
Or the studio audience.
The studio audience, it's Murray. Murray doesn't really approve of our show business antics. So I think we could safely go to this girl. And this is just a wonderful doll. Look at her face.
Look at her face and the hair tendrils coming down and those eyebrows.
And the carving marks.
She's everything.
And I don't know, do I need to dust her? You know, it's a wonderful thing about having guests over. You know, you get out and dust her. But wonderful. You can see in her the Grodner dolls that everybody loves starting to evolve. She's just a little bit earlier than you know, she's in the 1820s, and by the 1830s they're going to flood the market with Grods. But look at the beautiful gilded comb that survived. I mean, the gold is almost flawless. And then look at this. She was the twist and turn
She was
Barbie.
the original twist and turn Barbie.
Yeah, and I always use these as an example. I do some talks on style, and there's a lot of people that have a lot of discrimination against Barbie because of her body shape, and they think it is
unattainable
and unrealistic for girls. Hello, look at this. You know, no human could have this. So Barbie hasn't been doing anything that hasn't been done before. But this is a wonderful piece.
Incredible.
And you know, you can see how much fun this would be for a child to play with. This doll does have a lovely wardrobe, but it's right now in conservation. And you know, we do have, I want to share it while it's like this. We do have a lot of dolls that are in the process, and we will be busy till the day we die.
Right.
Working on them.
Yeah, a doll collector's job is never done.
No. So here we have really we're in the 1820s, and we also have this wonderful. Oops! Come on. Oh, stay there. We have this wonderful male.
Look at him.
So this is same period. But look at, he's got a 5 o'clock shadow. That's not damage. It's meant to be a 5 o'clock shadow. And look at his sideburns.
His sideburns are wonderful.
Yes. I think he may have at some point been part of a mechanical toy because there's a lever in him, but I don't really care. And it's just he's got a fabulous face. And really, again, in untouched condition. But look at the, you know, you can say all dolls are born girls, but look at his body versus her body. This is a male body.
Oh, that's a male, for
it
sure.
It wasn't an accident, but it's just a fantastic piece. And, you know, I feel very fortunate to get this. This came up at an auction back east years ago, and I had a friend of mine bid for us. His friend sitting next to him started bidding on it, and our friend said, do you really want to bid against Michael Canadas? And she put her paddle down.
Aww.
So that was really nice. So we're really happy to have this piece. And then we probably should go next to Wilhemina. And I think you should just give them a nice look at Wilhemina. We have already done a presentation with Wilhemina on Ruby Lane, but she didn't want to be left out of the wooden party.
She should not. She is the wooden party.
Yes. Yeah, so
this doll is spectacular.
I mean, she's over 40 inches tall. So I think that the viewers could, if they want to learn more about Princess Wilhemina, they could go to the Ruby Lane site, couldn't they? And
yes, they can.
Yeah.
And we will link to it also in this video if you guys want to see a really in-depth presentation on Wilhemina. But she is just one of your standout pieces here at the Grovian.
And everybody loves her. And I mean, we all think that she might be pregnant, and we're hoping for we want a litter of little Grods.
Yes, put me on the list of adoption, please.
Yes.
I will be glad to foster. Wonderful.
So now I think we should move to really the Grods. That's what's their nickname, but they're Grodnertals. But here is just a darling little piece. And this doll has a name, and her name is Sarah Harriet Denton. And she has this little trunk, wardrobe with all her little things.
Look
her
at
little
that, it's
hats.
monogrammed. She has her initials on there.
Yes, and it's just, she's really one of the most loved little things. You know, everybody loves Sarah Harriet. And just a very, very
so
cute.
Sweet. What a wonderful pocket size.
Doll.
She has her own little wooden doll right there. Fantastic.
And you know, right now these are very hot, and a lot of people are interested in collecting them. And you know, it's understandable because they're irresistible. And here's another group of the Grods that these have been with us a really, really long time before, I think before most people were even interested in them. And you know, I was talking to Judy in our studio audience, and we bought these at a time when really nobody was, it wasn't the phenomenon that it is today. And they've been with us a long time, and you know, there's a lot of attachment to them. And this is actually a fairly good size one. I think she's about 11 inches. And you know, you can find things anywhere. So this little one in 1987, we bought this on our first trip to England, and we paid £35 for it.
Look at that. Which
is really nice because, trust me, most of the dolls on this table did not cost £35.
Can we date a doll by the kind of comb that she has?
I don't think you can necessarily go by the comb.
Okay.
But I think that most Grods you can think of from probably 1800 to probably 1850.
Okay.
And then you'll see what they call the penny woodens. Those will come up about the time of this publication of Queen Victoria's dolls. So when this came up, they was a very popular book, and then children wanted to have dolls like the Queen, and then that's where you see those. You can find them on Ruby Lane. They're nice. They call them Dutch dolls, penny woodens. They're like Grod, but they're not. But they still have a lot of charm. And you know, I think we've talked about the pin cushions, which are all wonderful. But look at this. Look at these little ones.
Look at these. Just for reference, everybody, there is my finger.
Yeah,
so
they're tiny.
These are tiny, wonderful little things. Look at her rich blush and that big comb.
Yeah, it's just really wonderful.
And the baby, the tiny, tiny, tiny one has a comb.
Ones. Yeah, I have a very hard time resisting those.
That's how big they are.
Yeah, they're just tiny.
Fabulous.
And then maybe we should talk about next. Here we have basically the concept of the Grods. And this is a carved wooden head. It's not a paper mache. But now we're into the 1840s, 1850s. We could probably date it really good with Queen Victoria's first stamp with the little side curl and the bun. But you know, these are wonderful little pieces.
Fabulous.
And these were sent all over the world. These were cheap, inexpensive dolls.
I love her. She almost looks like Popeye's girlfriend.
Yeah, olive oil. And we have these displayed in the display almost like butterflies. We have them kind of pinned on the wall where you can see a whole, they make a great study group. So, you know, there you can see what the body type is. Again, it's not a healthy body image for little girls to look at because you see the tiny waist.
Right.
But here's the thing. They were like Barbie. They're meant to model clothes. So when you put them in the clothes, what their body shape doesn't really matter. And these are both all original dolls with nice paint, really nice paint. And then, you know, here's the little tiny, the wee ones.
Look at these little
I mean,
things.
those are
So again,
dollhouse
this is
dolls
our hand.
for the dollhouse.
Or the dolls.
Dolls.
These are
Yes.
just tiny, wonderful. And look at those little faces on there. If you guys are live with us, we are here at the Grovian learning all about wooden dolls. Amazing.
And then this is a wonderful, I think we've discussed her earlier, but she didn't want to be left out. It's a charity bazaar seller. And but I think maybe now get really in, look at that little face. You know, she's got just a wonderful little pugnacious face.
She does have a little pugnacious face. She's hoping that the sales increase.
Well, she's got to do her part.
You can't sell out of an empty wagon.
She's got to do her part for the charity.
Right.
Now here I know that we have researchers doing a lot of great work on, they're called alien heads. So what they did is they took the basic body that a Grodd would have, and then they would put another head on it, meaning a paper mache head, it could be a china head, it could be any kind of head. This, I think what they've done is they've used, you know, there's some wood under there, but they've done an overlay of probably a composition front and back of the head, which saved a lot of time in the carving process. And I think in a way they can get a very realistic look. And there are a lot of collectors right now collecting them. So we have a few of them, 1, 2, 3, just because I think that they're very interesting and have beautiful faces. But you know, if you look at them, we have 3 that are basically the same mold, but
and they're all very different.
Blue, pink shoes, blue shoes, and green shoes. And if you notice that each one of them is a different size. So I believe that the color of the shoes have to do with the sizing. Not to make it easy for you as the retailer, but for who is ever selling them, that the green is the 7-inch and the, you know, so on and so forth. And then this, we've shown this before, but you know what? It's worth another look at it.
This little wonderful.
Oh yeah, those are pin cushions. And that's a little collection we're working on. You know, we've got 4. It's not, they're not easy to find. So but this is a really cute little piece of Victoriana.
What do we call this? A whimsy?
This is absolutely a whimsy. A whimsy, a Victoriana, parlor art. It's all of those things. So it's just a wonderful little piece. You know, I think that the thing about it is,
Oopsie.
And the beauty of
you got her.
The beauty of wood is it takes a lot to hurt them. So that, you know, they're the ultimate. It happens.
Sure happens.
You know, I think the worst thing that could happen to them is that they get wet. So if you drop them, it's not such a big deal, but if getting wet would be. And then, of course, we have our peddlers, which are 2 things. They're peddlers and they're also woodens. So they fill a gap in the collection. We have other woodens. We're working on a little bit of Americana, but those are just, we're just starting out. This really represents our European English and European woodens that we have.
They are just incredible.
We don't have a huge collection, but I think we've got a nice representation.
You have a nice sampling.
That's sampling. Oh, and I didn't talk about her, did I?
We did not.
Oh no. I call this doll, sometimes it pays to be nice. Sometimes it's just easier to be nice than be mean. Do you know, we buy things and as a dealer, because I am a dealer, doll dealer, usually when we get a bummer doll, we just eat it. We don't create a problem. We don't go off the rails, because it's a waste of energy, and usually nothing good comes out of it. At one time we bought a very expensive doll, and it came to us with all kinds of problems that, so we wrote back to the dealer and said, I just said to David, that's it. I'm not standing for this. So we wrote the dealer and said, this doll is not what it should be, and et cetera, et cetera. But we were nice about it, not rude. And the lady said, I'm so sorry. Of course you can have your money back, but I'd rather not give you your money back. Would you like to have this doll? So that's a great lesson. And of course I was over the moon. So we've got a big Grodner doll with molded curls, wonderful face, original costume. And this was sent with a provenance, this doll was sent to Egypt to be dressed. So this is...
You can tell.
Yeah, this was a harem girl. So it was sent off to be dressed, and see, she's got the little harem pants. Look at that. And it's got some of the earliest, it's not in perfect condition, the soutache trim, but it's got some of the earliest soutache I've ever seen.
Bradley just commented, amazing woodens. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, well, hi, Brad. And I'm looking forward, Bradley, to your presentations at the UFDC coming up.
Of course.
Because you're going to be with my girl, Rachel.
We can't wait to see Bradley.
So it's just a wonderful piece.
It is incredible.
So, I mean, I use this as I remind myself that sometimes it's not worth it to get upset, and sometimes
you never know what's
something's
gonna be
better coming
exactly.
along. So I was really, and then look at the undersleeves with the gold-plated sequins is what I'm trying to say. But it's the face and the turban. I mean, she's just so chic, and she does still have one part of her earring. A lot of these woodens, by the way, the Grods, had earrings, and usually the earrings were made out of wood. There were little scraps of wood that were made into earrings. And again, you can see there's every kind of foot style. And a lot of these dolls too, by the way, had these molded shoes, but then they had shoes that went on top of them.
Helen Wheeler just said, I needed wooden doll in my collection. I have never taken notice of them until now.
Well, good. Well, you know what? The wonderful thing is, if we don't have new things that we want, it won't be fun anymore. And that's why, our collection here, it's never going to be complete.
No.
That would be that would be a tragedy.
That would be a sad day.
That would be a sad day. But there, for Helen, there are all kinds of wooden dolls to collect. And it's a fun thing. You can collect American, German, continental, you name it.
For those who are thinking of starting, what do you think would be a good place to start?
Well, I think
a couple good search terms.
Well, just start, antique wooden dolls,
right,
and just see what's available. I think that before I would put money down, I would want to be educated. And now we have, listen, when we started, which was back in the dinosaurs were roaming the dolls displays in those days, there were no imagery. Now you've got things like Pinterest. Join Pinterest, type in antique woodens. You're going to see a whole varieties of things, and you're going to start to tune your eye to what you like. And I would do that before I put money down, and then figure out what you like. Please don't get wrapped up into the woodens that cost $150,000, which are nice. I love them, love to have one. But there are other things, lots and lots of other things. Like, for instance, one of these, this isn't going to break the bank, but you know what? This is a wonderful, 1835, 40 1850s doll. And you could have a lot of fun with this. And if you put these in a group, they sing.
They do.
They sing. You can, you know, if there are plenty of wonderful dolls like this that need clothes, and that if you're good at sewing, you can have. So you can start anywhere, but I think the main thing is start with looking at Pinterest, looking at images. Then start seeing what they have for sale on Ruby Lane. Go to other websites. If you have an opportunity, there are doll museums that you could go to and see them. Go to doll seminars. If there's a seminar, get involved. You know, the more opportunity you have, more opportunities, the more you expose yourself to things.
Exactly.
You know, it helps. And I think later today we're going to do a scavenger hunt here, where everyone, our studio audience, is going to bring in. They're going to pick something from the museum. I have nothing to do with it. Rachel has nothing to do with it. What they want to talk about and learn about. And the thing I'm going to pick, that I'm going to talk about, if I didn't go to club and learn from other experts, I wouldn't know a thing about it. And then you have opportunities. Opportunities can be a financial opportunity, artistic opportunity. The more you learn. The more you learn, yes. And you know what? It is fun. And let's face it, in the 30 plus years that we have been doing this, I'm waiting for the day that's boring. Right. Because it's never come boring. Around. Nope, it's never. Our friend Stephen just said Pinocchio. So there are so many wonderful. Oh yeah, Pinocchio. We love Pinocchio. Sure. Yep, he's a great wooden doll. You know what? Also too, if you wanted to kind of go outside the box, you could collect fantastic wooden puppets. Yeah, so there's whole areas of that you could collect. Well, this was such a treat. Thank you so much. And if you are tuning in, be sure to share it so all of your friends can see these wonderful wooden wonders from here at the Grovian Doll Museum. And if you hear sound effects in the background, it's a live working. It's a live working thing, and David is just working as fast as he can to get all of the Rose Percy books out for all the people who ordered them. So listen, thank you very much, and we'll see you later. We'll see you later today. Bye-bye.